31 points higher. Krishna Kumar Karwa is now joining us, MD at MK Global. Krishna, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
Strong move for the market. We had a bit of a shakeout because of the bond yields, and now the market's moving once again. Your view on how to participate in this market now?
Yeah, I think first of all, we need to understand that we are in the midst of a very strong bull market and backed up with improving corporate fundamentals, low interest rates, improving a very good liquidity. So my sense is that what we saw in the last few weeks was maybe some corrections here and there, but it is time to be just stay invested in your quality portfolio that you have created. I think and any dip will be an opportunity for investors to buy into the stocks that they are interested in. So I think the point is that just stay invested, and yes, we need to be cognizant of macros which keep on changing, maybe some interest rates improve, hardening, etc. But at the end of the day, we are bottoms up stock picking, which is most important that investors should be focusing on. And wherever they feel that stocks have possibly run 2-3 ahead of what they should be, then yes, you should be looking to book profits. But to summarize, I would just say that we are in the midst of a bull run and stay fully invested.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Karwa. Take the overall macro point, but let me go sector-wise and maybe even stock-wise. There was this announcement yesterday by the Finance Ministry that government business can go to private banks, and Axis, ICICI and HDFC Bank anyway get it. So would you train your eyes on private banks other than these three, which for whom a new avenue opens up?
So I think we should read this announcement in light of the thought process that the government have already articulated in terms of how they want to monetize various assets, divest PSUs, etc. And what the Prime Minister also talked about, his belief that public sector units should not be run by bureaucrats and they should be run by private sector. So if you read this announcement in those lines, then it effectively means that the government is saying or what it is, it is trying to execute what it is talking about, which is that the private banks are equally important part of the ecosystem, and why shouldn't they also execute a business on behalf of various government opportunities. So that is the big picture that I would look at. In terms of opportunities, yes, there could be some additional opportunities for various private banks who are not getting business from the government. But I think as it is, there are tailwinds for private banks across the board who have good capital adequacy with the improving economy. I think the business prospects for them as it is are very good. So it's one more leg up for the private banks in the opportunity that they see for themselves in the next 2-3 years.
Okay, I take your overall point on public sector, and I was going to come to you with that question, whether that will be an area. I just thought I'll take the subsect first. These are also undervalued, many public sector units, including banks. Is that something that you would now look at with interest? Public sector companies, public sector banks in particular?
Yes, I think you rightly said that many of the public sector units have been undervalued, and they have been undervalued for the last 4-5 years for various reasons. I think if the execution is perfect, which means that we are able to privatize some of these public sector units, then there can be a lot of leg up in many of these public sector units where if you go back in history and see in terms of how Hindustan Zinc, which was privatized, and the kind of efficiencies that company delivered and wealth which it delivered to the shareholders.
Absolutely.
So I think it's all about getting successful privatizations or divestments going through, and I'm sure there will be a lot of wealth which will get created for shareholders, not only in the run-up to some of these privatizations, but after some good private investors take over these companies, there would be many more opportunities for investors to invest in. So I think it's a function of risk appetite. There are a section of investors who would want to buy into these units, maybe at higher valuations, but once the ownership is very clearly defined. And there are some who would possibly look to invest in now itself in anticipation of successful divestments.
Okay, well, just look at the markets go. The bulls are in pole position as we speak. The Bank Nifty is up 650 points and getting better by the minute. Mr. Karwa, good morning. I wanted your thoughts on how to approach some of these commodity-sensitive stocks like autos. On one hand, demand is picking up, but on the other hand, raw material prices are going through the roof, and that will hit the margins of these companies. But would you use the dip to buy into many of these names?
Definitely, I think that's the whole beauty is that these kind of headwinds, temporary headwinds in terms of say some portion costs, etc., or even supply chain issues are also there for some of the auto companies. But the opportunity in terms of the demand itself is so good for many of these companies that the corrections which many of these stocks have witnessed in the last month or so, I think maybe 10-15% in some of the stocks, should be used. I think the tailwinds which are there as far as the commercial heavy vehicle system, where the opportunity is concerned. So you have a few companies in that segment, and obviously in passenger vehicles you don't have too many opportunities. So for, I mean, one and maybe 1.5 you can say. So those are the opportunities that investors should be looking to invest in. And one of the tractor majors has announced about a lot of focus on capital allocation. So that also opportunity should be used by investors to invest in such kind of companies.
Okay. Krishna, what about this commodity super cycle? It's been a massive run for stocks like Hindalco and Tata Steel, even PSU stocks like Hindustan Copper and SAIL. Are you adding any of these stocks in your portfolio? Do you have a positive view here?
So yes and no. I think these are global commodities. Many of these companies are focused on very global commodities, and it's very difficult to be able to track the global movements as well as you can do possibly for local commodities. So yes, but having said that, I think you look at the cash flow that many of these companies are generating and the kind of debt equity that will come down to. So the opportunity seems to be very strong, and many of these companies have transformed themselves from being not being pure commodity plays, but have a lot of value added products which are not commodity the way we look at it. So yes, there are tailwinds, there could be some more money to be made, but at the end of the day, the investors need to identify how much risk appetite that they have. Please remember that commodity plays are very volatile and risky in terms of the fluctuations that these stocks and the underlying commodities can go through. So my sense is there are better opportunities that investors could look to invest in from a risk-adjusted return basis.
Okay. I wanted to also ask you your view on some of these pharma plays, particularly the hospital companies, the private hospitals. We now know that people above 60 years and those above 45 years with comorbidities will be vaccinated very quickly. So, private hospitals will charge for this. Do you see a lot more potential despite the run-up that we've already seen?
In terms of the healthcare infrastructure that the country has, I think private sector hospitals have a very important role to play. And what we are seeing now is basically all the elective surgeries, etc., which were postponed during the lockdown. So now that will be a big run-up, or rather that will be very important in terms of increased occupancies for many of these hospitals. Also medical tourism, which is very important, I think that should also make a comeback. So my judgment is that private hospitals allowed to do vaccinations, etc., that should not be a key driver from a longer term perspective as far as many of these hospitals are concerned. But the core business itself has got very good long term prospects, and that should deliver decent returns despite the run up that some of these companies have seen in the short term.
Okay. How do you look at insurance now? I mean, the private companies have run up, but now the reinsurance guys are charging them more. So we had a CNBC TV an exclusive yesterday. Our colleague Yash Jain broke the story that charges will go up for new life policies starting, I think, March 1st or April 1st. How do you look at this business, life insurance?
In terms of penetration, etc., there is a big opportunity that many of these companies still have. And I think what is important is what kind of distribution channels that you have. So wherever insurance companies are able to have either some ownership or tie-ups with the banks, then their ability to distribute is far, far better than standalone life insurance companies. So opportunity on a longer term basis is always there. And I think many of these insurance companies have been able to evolve their product offerings. So yes, there was a big run-up in opportunities as far as term life policies, etc., were concerned during the lockdown, and there is a distinct slowdown over there. But then they have other products in terms of annuity products and other ULIPs, etc. So if the markets continue to deliver the way they are delivering, I'm sure they should be able to grow in a reasonable fashion going forward. I think the valuations of many of these companies are slightly expensive, so the return expected that investors have should be relatively muted from a short-term perspective.
Yeah, actually, you took away my next question. That's what I was going to ask you. You've been positive on almost all the questions we have asked you because the economy itself is looking like it's recovering. So what will be your pecking order? If you got an additional 100 crore from your investors, how will you hierarchize the preferences?
Yeah, so the balance have to be that I think the domestic cyclical, which is the banks and the NBFCs, I think they are clear-cut beneficiaries. The valuations are still not expensive versus the opportunity that many of these companies offer. So yes, I think there has to be a very big allocation to the domestic cyclical, specifically the banks and some of the top-notch NBFCs. Having said that, I think the second sector which I believe has got just started to move is the real estate sector. I think coming out of hibernation or consolidation of 7-8 years, we have seen some decent pickup in the last 6-8 months. So the whole real estate chain, which includes not only the developers, but also many of the building material companies and even some of the home finance companies, that whole chain should attract a decent amount of investments. And thirdly, I think this whole digitization and artificial intelligence, machine learning, that opportunity which is there now, either you can play in terms of some of the IT companies, and if you are able to buy into some of the internet plays which are domestically listed. So these are the three themes that one should be looking to deploy your money in a larger proportion. Apart from that, as I've always been focusing on, is basically be bottoms up focused, rather than trying to be so much of top-down thematic.
Okay. All right, Krishna Kumar Karwa, it was a pleasure listening to you, and specifically on your third theme, digitization. We are starting a segment called Digital Drive starting today. We are going to have a digital company and a financier, a private equity, and a think tank to delineate the opportunities in digitization. I invite you to pay attention and see if those trends are something that are of use to you. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, so watch out for that digital drive. We have maybe 4 or 5 companies now like IndiaMart and Route Mobile, which are entirely into the digital space, or Tanla, as Gurmeet was mentioning. But it maybe is the big theme of tomorrow.
Okay, maybe the big theme of tomorrow, the big
But
theme
you're
for
interested in
today.